The great
Pause.
has spoken.
Good morning. Welcome to the land of Boz with Jeff Bosley.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Land of Boz. I, as my good friend Alicia said, am Jeff Bosley. Welcome to Monday the 8th.
Dude, Mondays is just terrible. I hate Mondays. I really hate Mondays.
I agree with you, Mr. Intoxication. Mondays suck. However, for those of you listening, you know Mondays are also free at the Land of Oz. So, free episode here, and hopefully your balls enjoy it enough that you check out all the other episodes. Patreon.com/Jeff Bosley. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show, I want to ramble. The first thing I want to talk about is some interesting stuff that happened with Izzy. For those of you who don't know, my dog Izzy, she is my little canine partner in crime, my furry soulmate, and we've been through thick and thin. She's literally almost died or been killed 3 times. More surgeries than I can count, like my good friend Jesse says, who has a segment on this show. She is like the Wolverine of dogs. She can't be killed, and she's made of more metal than tissue at this point. She's like a cybernetic organism wrapped over a polymetal skeletal. Whoever knows the quote from Terminator knows what I'm saying. But a little moment of, I don't know, I wouldn't say confession because that implies I did something wrong, but a little moment of honesty, I guess. For those of you who also know me, know my ex and I, Pauline and I, got a dog, Frank, way back when, maybe about a year and a half ago. Amazing little rescue dog, senior, the kind of dog nobody wants, but we wanted him because that's the kind of dogs we actually like. And the poor little fella had to have some serious work done afterwards. Loved him to death, and we got the work done, but unfortunately, I'll try to keep it objective, but unfortunately through whatever happened during his dental anesthesia, his trachea was damaged, causing it to collapse. Small dogs and small airways are hard to intubate. I know this from personal experience because in background I've yet to disclose on this show yet, I have extensive experience intubating animals, especially small animals. So I see where they're coming from, but because I could do it and I'm a caveman, I'm slightly upset that his trachea was damaged to the point where the collapse is affecting his airway, was affecting his oxygen saturation, thus affecting his oxygen exchange, causing him to his brain to think he's choking, causing him to constantly cough. Pauline and I, we did everything possible. His dignity was still intact, but it just kept getting worse, and finally we had to put the poor little fella down. I know it's a good way to start a Monday, I apologize. But little Frank, the dude was awesome. It still almost actually right now brings a tear to my eye. I love that guy so much. He was amazing. His heart was so big, and it killed me to have to put him down, but it was unquestionably the right thing to do. Even one day longer, it would have been rude. It would have been mean to keep him going. No more than 6 feet away from me, I have his ashes and a little ink paw print from the vet got for me. But anyway, the reason I was bringing that sadness up is now Izzy, for those of you who don't know, or you should know, dogs and their dental care go hand in hand with their internal health. Dogs, if they have poor teeth, it can actually affect their heart and all sorts of, there's a massive downward spiral. I brush Izzy's teeth at night, and I really take care of her. As anybody knows, I almost overtake her, but I've never been wrong. So anybody that thinks I overdo it, I've almost proven him wrong constantly. When I'm over worrying, it's because she has no sense of self-preservation. One time she was running around a pool so much chasing shiny objects, she ran the pads off of all 4 of her feet. She literally ran her feet raw because I kind of let her relax, thinking I was being an overprotective princess, and turns out I probably should have stopped her like I thought. But you live and learn. Their hearts are bigger than their body, or their hearts are more have us go happier and harder than their bodies can handle sometimes, and Izzy is that dog. But as a result of some fear, I don't want to take her to have her dental work done because they'll have to intubate her, and I'm going to be going to a vet who actually helped save her life. I initially met when she was attacked by these 2 giant ferocious dogs and nearly killed her. It's another side story, but I helped save her life initially, and then I took her to some vets that helped prolong her life and keep her alive longer. And I'm terrified. She needs her teeth cleaned. It's a fact. And I talked to Christine. Here's a plug for All Animals Veterinary Hospital in Calabasas, California. They're astonishing. astonishing. I met them bloodied in battle with me and Izzy's blood all over my body as I carried her into the vet on some after hours schedule, and they kept her alive and have been friends, and Dr. Molinar and Christine have given me more peace and love than anything I can have requested or fathomed. But I really am scared to get her dental work because of that. So that's what's on my mind. I don't mean to be a little sad Sally here, but that's what's on my mind. A little bit of honesty and truth. She's fine and everything. She just needs dental work. So I thought I'd get that off my chest. But we'll try to get into some more happy stuff. We're going to talk about what happened on this day, October 8th, in the past.
Extra, extra! Read all about it! Life story of Playboy Penny Extra!
So on this day, October 8th, in the past, I'm going to try to get these a little bit more entertaining because, God help you, you're probably in traffic or doing something else that makes you want to go, God, I might as well at least listen to Jeff while I'm doing X. So I'll try to keep them entertaining. So on this one, 1871, the Great Chicago Fire. I know you're going, oh, God, the Chicago Fire. That same old thing. However, did you know it was not started by a cow, as originally reported? Yeah. So the Chicago Fire destroyed more than 100 of the 300,000 residents were left homeless. And this is back in 1871. That's no joke. 3.5 miles of Chicago were destroyed, 250 people killed. It was caused because of a crazy drought. And it was reported that Mrs. O'Leary's cow started the fire. It was reported by the Chicago Tribune. This was before the Star magazine and all the other crap. And it wasn't until 22 years later the author of the story retracted it. So for 22 years, people believed one of the biggest fires in fire service history was caused by a cow. Sad. Moving on. I hope everyone's okay. I know it might be too soon, but 1993. Wow, jumping ahead. A group of Italian Roman Catholic bishops announced that those who have sex after divorce will not be allowed to take part in communion. So if you're Catholic, like me, and have been divorced, like me, and have had sex after divorce, like me, I can't partake in communion? This is a whole nother religious chat, I'm sure. I believe in God. I am Catholic, but I do not agree with this law that was made on this day, 1993, to be brutally honest. Moving on, I'll try to keep it more entertaining. 1949, on this day, yet another tough, yet, depending on the movie, sexy woman was born on this day.
Get away from her, you bitch!
And that's frickin' gosh dang right. Sigourney Weaver, the original alien slayer. Yeah, you might know her from other movies. Gorillas in the Mist was actually a badass movie, 1988. But I will forever have a love for her. From Alien, Aliens, Alien, blah, 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 Alien, blah, 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 Alien, blah, 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 Alien Resurrected, Alien Resurrects, blah, blah, blah. And she also had a little spin in Ghostbusters in 84. But Sigourney Weaver, I salute you for making aliens hot and sexy and granny panties tolerable. I'm not even sure what that means. Well, actually, I do. If you watch the original Alien, she's actually almost all the Alien movies. She spends most of the movie running around in her granny panties. So, moving on. On this day, did he die? He died. 1793, John Hancock. Most people don't even know who that is. It's the 4th and 13th president of the Continental Congress. But I know him from Chris Farley saying, John Hancock, it's Herbie Hancock. If you don't know the reference, go watch Tommy Boy. Yeah, I think it's Tommy Boy, where he goes to college for 12 years. And there's nothing wrong with going to college for 12 years. And that is today in history. All right. Now, for those of you who don't know, I'm a nerd. I love me some comic book movies. I'll even give ones that probably shouldn't be given a chance for multiple reasons. A, as an actor, I want to be in movies. B, I know the guys that were the second unit and most of the action directors of this movie. So here is my review of Venom. Okay, my review of Venom. It is Sunday afternoon. I just watched Venom. I watched it for Monday's show. And here's what we got. First off, I want to make a disclaimer. I look at this movie kind of like when Black Hawk Down or other movies about the military. I want to, although there are Obviously, Venom's not historically referenced. I'm just talking about source material, i.e. the comics in this case. But like Black Hawk Down and military movies and all that, there is source material, but it has to be tweaked for entertainment value. And with that being said, I don't know tons about Venom beyond I actually in college watched a butt ton of the Spider-Man cartoon, and Venom was in there. And to be brutally honest, that's the extent of my knowledge of Venom. I know Eddie Brock, and I know a little bit of the backstory, but that's really it. So keep that in mind with my review, because I'm not going to go in a deep dive nerd Marvel accuracy reference review here, and I'll spoiler free. Yes, let's make this spoiler free. So with all that, keep that in mind. So this is actually good for non-crazy critical nerds, because this will be kind of maybe the perspective you'll be coming out when you see Venom. So overall, it's PG-13, so that was the very first thing right out the gate that kind of frustrated me, is because with all the movies that are making the risk that for characters that inherently should be rated R, Logan, Deadpool. Logan is a good example. Deadpool is a lot of it just because of the swearing and the vulgarity and a lot of that. But Logan is good because it helped tell the story better, being a more violent film. Right, wrong, or indifferent. Venom, in my opinion, is not a PG-13 character. So right off the bat, I was a little hesitant. But overall, that the rating wasn't too much of a limit. It would be better rated R, though. They could probably spend a little bit more time on the danger of the character. And speaking of characters and actors, overall, I think everybody was cast very well. Tom Hardy, I have a total respect for him as a fan and as a wannabe climbing my way actor. I'd heard some reviews about his accent or his dialect. Tom Hardy himself has a surprisingly, to me, a voice that doesn't match what you see. So that kind of always throws me just hearing him talk in general. He has kind of he's a big giant man of a old tough dude, and he has kind of this kind of light voice. But I heard a lot of reviews about his accent being all that kittywampus. And I think here's what it is. I think his accent was kind of pretty good. It had kind of a tough New York thing. Anybody who's been in New York, anybody that's kind of been on that side of the blue collar side of the job, so like Eddie Brock, they have a little bit more tough and abrasive accent. I mean, he's not a lawyer, but they did a little throwback to why he's not in LA or why he's not in New York in this movie. They referenced a little bit of the backstory, but zero reference to the Spider-Man. Sorry, good Lord, to the Spider-Man universe that I caught. I only watched it once, and I was admittedly, a little disclaimer, a little bit of personal BS happened right before the movie started, so I was a little bit ticked off, so I was not in a good headspace to be entertained. But once the movie started, I kind of got lost in it. But yeah, so his accent and everything, I honestly think it worked. The places where people, I think, might say it got weird or off is the things that I want to critique is when he got involved with the Venom character. I'm saying all this as a fan. I'm not critiquing the acting, but as from an actor's standpoint, I'm critiquing it as a fan. I found it weird that he was a really tough, competent guy. But he played the everyman. He wasn't a hero. He still kind of played the loser. But then when he got involved with Venom, he became kind of a Nimrod. They added a little bit too comedy to it. It had a weird comedy twist to it, and I think that kind of took away from it. And so the comedic delivery of the lines in that Brooklyn, New York, whatever accent he was doing, that's kind of what threw me for the curve. So that'd be my biggest critique of the film outside of it being rated PG-13, was this weird, he kind of turned into a Nimrod, like a weak dork. And Tom Hardy, you look at him, he's not that guy. The character and the circumstances were such that he was a loser and and a down and out reporter and all that. But it's a comic book movie. I don't think obviously we're not going to say what would you really do if you were taken over by a symbiote from space. Obviously it'd be a little bit crazy, but it wasn't a dramatic reactions. It was a little bit too comedic. Yeah, that's that. But overall, Michelle Williams was good. I just blanked on the gentleman's name that played the antagonist, the bad guy. Overall, good. The special effects were badass. And before I move on to special effects and all the stunts and action, I'm going to hit pause for a minute and save this because I don't want to lose it. So the special effects and everything, I actually thought it was pretty good because I think the Venom character has like that ink, sludge, oil look to it, comics, cartoons, or otherwise. So it kind of lends itself to be kind of forgiving to CGI because it has to have kind of a shiny out of the real look to it. And I think they did a good job, but hiding the CGI and interacting the character. But again, my standard now is Thanos in Avengers, in Infinity War, and I think they could have spent more time showing the character. I don't know. Maybe they have more plans in the future, but it as much of a secondary character as he was to Eddie Brock's character, the Venom character, seemed to like not get as much screen time as I would have liked. And then moving on to the action and the stunts, it's a comic book movie. This is not a name drop thing, but I am very fortunate to know the second unit director and his team and his stunt team. I've met with them. I hang out with them. I'm very, very lucky to be around them. And just to kind of resume drop what they do all the special effects and second unit stuff for the Fast and Furious movies. They did a lot of the Captain America ones. These guys are the guys for this kind of movie. They're astonishing. They're an astonishing crew. I'm just enamored with them every time I talk to them and hang out with them. We play Call of Duty like weekly at the guy's house. They make action sequences stellar. And for those of you who don't know what second unit is, basically anytime there's a shot in a movie that doesn't have the main actors or the main cast, a lot of that's the second unit. So if you think about it, action movies like this movie and specifically like Fast and Furious, that the second unit, they're the bread and butter of an action movie. They do the action. It's not like The Rock or Tom Hardy was there when they're doing a lot of these chase scenes. They're not even on set that day unless there's some random Tom Cruise existence where they need them in the shot. But they're doing a lot of the work. They're the ones crashing cars, really making a lot of this stuff happen. And Spiro and Mr. guy named Mr. Andy Gill, they do a lot of this stuff. I would say the majority of the stuff practical in camera, and they don't mess around. They were in the streets of San Francisco launching cars through space and launching motorcycles. So the action was spot on. I was highly impressed. And yeah, story was it was good. It's a comic book movie, so it's not a big drama. It seemed, you could tell it was an establisher. So it seemed kind of like quick and get to the point, which is fine. Again, I went in to be entertained by a comic book movie. There's a nice little twist at the end that makes me need to do a little bit of research. And I guess the one frustration I should say, is the fact that it's Sony and associated with Marvel, and there's still this weird like affair, breakup scenario where it's like, wait a minute, it's part of the Spider-Man universe, but not, and it wasn't even referenced, and it's like, God, I don't know what. So that's kind of my convoluted review. Go see it. I liked it. It was fun. It's a good popcorn movie. Go and enjoy it. If you're a deep, deep nerd, I'm sure it failed on a lot of points, but I don't know what they are, so that's where ignorance is bliss. Again, the action was awesome. I liked the character. Tom Hardy, I thought, pulled off Eddie Brock good. Like I said, I just got a little off when he got involved with Venom. He kind of became a little stupid, or not bright, and that was frustrating. But overall, go see it. This is my first movie review, so my rating system will be 5. Will be my, if something out of 5 will be the best. I don't know my rating scale should be. What am I known for? I'll think about it. But for this, out of 5, whatever my unit of measurement is, I would give it a 3 out of 5. So there you go. Go watch it, check it out. Feel free to chime in on Patreon under this podcast, or email me, fans@jeffbosley.com. Hope this helped. Okay, so that brings us to the segment of the show that's a little bit more touchy-feely, where I want to inspire and motivate, or kind of just give you a little bit more oomph, especially on this godforsaken Monday.
Don't stop believing.
So this no joke comes from not an email, fans@jeffbosley.com. It comes from a post on one of the actual podcasts. Somebody asked me to talk about journaling and what I do regarding journaling. Now, admittedly, I'm really good at creating habits out of discipline, but discipline begets desire. So it takes me a hot minute to get good at these habits. But one of the habits I'm implementing via more discipline than desire is journaling. And I'm not talking like Doogie Howser long, deep, poetic thoughts about my day or some sort of end of the sitcom message that will forever ring true in my life. I'm talking more just kind of a quick little... I compare journaling to scuba diving. For those of you that scuba dive in any level, you know you plan your dive, you dive your plan. So by putting these thoughts or these things I'm going to touch on paper, it kind of helps set my day, set the tone for my day. So I do this first thing when I wake up. I wake up, have my coffee, kind of get everything up and running. I do my TM, my transcendental meditation, and then I do this journaling. And this is actually to credit a good friend of mine, a surgeon. His name's Dr. Levi Harrison. I've been on his YouTube and his podcast twice now. He's an astronomically positive guy. Just Google or YouTube search Levi, as in the genes, Harrison. Amazing dude. He's really positive, really uplifting. He's always in my corner, and he means the world to me. But at his encouragement, he had me start a journal daily. And so I bought a little black Mead composition journal. It's the Journal of Serial Killers. Every time I see these, I think of the opening of Seven, and the guy that used these for his murder journals. But via his talk and kind of a hybrid of advice that he gave me, I write down 3 things daily. I write on the top of the page gratitude, assertion, and action. And then I journal the things that coincide with that. So on gratitude, I obviously say something like I'm thankful for, something I might take for granted, something that happened to me, just something to acknowledge thanks for something that happened in my life. Trivial or astronomical, anything to jot it down. So if you're having a bad day, you can look back and go, oh, here's some perspective. I'm thankful for not having, it could be anything. I'm thankful for having both my legs today. Anything like that. So that's gratitude. The next one is assertion. And for me, honestly, it started out as affirmation, which to me seemed not as concrete. Like you're kind of affirming something. I don't know. I don't like the word affirmation. It seems loose. So I switched it to assertion, where it's fact. This will happen. And sometimes it's like kind of touchy-feely, like, I am a confident person. That's an assertive, or I possess the qualities needed to be extremely successful, so that's a little touchy-feely. But other days I just write, like today's, I'll straight up admit it, said, I got this. That was my assertion. Lastly is action. I'll even tell you what today's were at the end of this. The last one is action. And that's something you need to do. Yesterday, for example, I need to get Izzy's appointment with her vet for the dentist. As you heard earlier in the show, I've been putting that off, and I wrote it down, and I did it. I'll be damned. And then today's action, it's anything that's actionable. That goes without saying, you would think. But if you say, I'm going to go to Paris on vacation, that's way grandiose. You're not going to do that between journal days. So write down something that's actionable, because if you set these huge lofty goals for a 1-day span of 24 hours, you're not going to accomplish it. My action, I would love to be like, we'll walk red carpet to the Oscars. That's not going to happen by tomorrow. So again, I write down the date, and then I write under it every time so I don't forget, and I can actually reference it quickly. I write gratitude, assertion, action. And then I write down goal, today's gratitude, G. My gratitude today was, I'm recording some of these on Saturday and Sunday before Monday's show, but my goal or my gratitude was I had a great week of training and workouts, and my diet was on track. My assertion for Saturday was I got this. And my action was to set work intervals using this app I use called I'm going to pronounce it wrong, Pomodoro. It sets work and rest intervals so you don't get distracted, and you get dedicated rest intervals so you can stay focused and more productive. And it's just an app I use. You can set your work schedule for 20 minutes on, 10 minutes off. And then that 10 minutes, you get up, you move around, you take the dog out, you look at emails, but you only work for those 20 minutes, and then you come back for those 10. So that's to answer the question. I apologize for whom asked that, for not being able to reference your name. There's so many ways to communicate with people. I lose where it's at. It could be a DM, it could be an instant message, it could be a comment under a picture, but I'm certain it might have been either a DM or a post within the podcast post itself. So forgive me for whoever it is. Thank you. This might be something people can use. And again, I should almost rename this podcast for those of you who know me. Because for those of you who know me, journaling is not exactly my thing. It's definitely a weakness. But when I kind of likened it to, if we had operations, you would plan your operation. It would go to hell the minute you left the gate, but you'd at least try to plan your operation. Scuba diving, dive your plan your dive your plan. Hopefully scuba diving, it doesn't go to hell. That means you die or get like nitrogen narcosis. But when I thought of it in that way, like using it as a disciplinary action, as a thing to help focus me and make me more of a working cyborg, that helped me do it. And I set the journal on my bed every morning or at night, every night. So when I get up in the morning, I don't miss it. I don't get distracted. As much as I want to put it away in my little OCD, put everything away at the end of the night ways, I have it leading out. So I remember it's there. And I wake up and that's what I do to journal. So hopefully that will give you guys something to do. Buy a journal, try it out. Keep it simple and don't make it all grandiose because you might be setting yourself up for failure. And it gives you something to look back on. What I'm going to try to also implement is on Sundays, look back on the week, see how it went, room for improvement, room to continue growth, etc. So I hope that works. Hope it gives you something to focus on and kind of a template on how to maybe better your life and find a little bit of motivation in your day and ways to help self-motivate so you don't have to count on others as much as you may now. So yeah, thanks for listening. Hope that helped. Okay, and before we get to the final section of my talk with Jenny, part 2 of 2, Jenny Leigh, we continue our conversation from Friday's show. I just really want to take a moment to unsolicitedly plug Instacart. I do not get paid or reimbursed by them, which I wish I would. Those of you who don't know, LA sucks with traffic and time and groceries and parking and road rage and time and gas waste, etc. Instacart, no joke. I have done the math with the amount of money it costs for fuel or to Uber to a place and pay for parking and the amount of time. If you could associate a cost with time, it's cheaper to have Instacart do their thing and it employs people. So if you haven't used it, look into Instacart. I was able to actually work on almost an entire show while somebody else grocery shopped for me. It only cost me a couple bucks, which would be more than gas and time and parking combined. So seriously, check them out. I almost did an entire show, recorded, edited it, and now I get to do a couple more segments with my, if it fits your macros, Jack Daniels assisting me in the recording. So check out Instacart, no joke. Moving on. Anyway, here is the rest of my conversation with the motivational, funny, and honest fitness life coach, Jenny Leigh.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Of course.
I am a total loner.
Yep.
Like, I live in a studio apartment that from social media, I'm pretty sure we basically live in the same shoebox.
Yeah.
Just maybe different size feet, or different shoe stores.
Yeah.
And like when I first moved into this specific building, I was like, everything I need is here.
Yeah.
I meal prep, and I pick up my meal prep because if I cook, like, I might die because I'm a terrible cook.
Well, yeah. My place is so small, if I cook, I might actually have the fire department call because of like a heat expenditure issue.
Right. I'm picking up my meal plans, I'm doing what I got to do, but everything I need is in these walls.
Now, are you the kind of person that feeds itself, though, to the point, like a lot of my friends or whatever, always, because I'm the same way. It's weird because we're extroverted introverts or introverted extroverts, where like they're like, oh God, he's in this downward spiral. Like, do you find yourself like the more you stay in or the more you loner, the more that feeds itself? Or is that just how you turn off and recharge? Like, are you pretty balanced?
Balanced?
Yeah, I know.
You're crazy.
Sorry, I use the B word. So I know you're referencing the dark side, but how, that loner time, is that?
It spirals pretty quickly.
Yeah, okay. I'm the same way. I'm unfortunately the same.
It's one of those things where it's like, eventually I will run out of food. and I will order a pizza. And once that happens, you could just say goodbye to me for the next 3 days. Like, The
You just
darkness is
explained
very
a
dark.
week of mine about a week ago. Like,
You what?
you just rehashed my last about 2 weeks ago. For about a week I was like, ah man, I ran out of all this healthy food. I guess that means I'm supposed to order pizza for breakfast.
Duh. And I used to attach a lot of shame to being that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then just like out of nowhere, I guess in the last year or so, I was like, you know what? I'm going to lean in.
Interesting.
I'm just going to go with it. Because I'm fighting it is making me feel worse.
Yeah.
Because now I'm shaming myself.
How do you find the difference between that and like okay, let's say one of your clients, I'm playing devil's advocate here, is trying to like maybe get better healthy habits where they're trying to actually not do that. How do you find that balance between helping them better themselves or reach a goal that could also be considered shaming? Like, how do you find that balance? Because obviously, if we let our vices go, I would wake up, have vodka for breakfast, pizza for lunch, because the things that you want.
So you live in New Orleans.
Yeah, exactly. Man, I got to move.
Come on over.
Where it's acceptable. But yeah, like if we were down to, I've said this in other podcasts and other like stuff, like your body wants to be comfortable and easy and taste good things and find, kind of your body almost is more prone to being sloth than it is to being energetic and moving a million miles an hour, and how do you find that balance of not letting people like go to a downward spiral poorly? And you for not just others, you.
I no matter what, I always have work. I never not have work.
That's good. Okay.
So that's kind of I definitely have to walk out that door in the next 24 hours. Sometime in the next 24 hours, that door's going to open and I have to walk out of it. When I talk to my clients, first and foremost, no matter what, I don't care who they are, where they're from, what their status is, I just tell them it's okay.
I like it.
And from that moment, you can kind of tell how best to coach that person.
Gotcha.
There's so much pressure to be
for
your
sure
best self and, hashtag best life and all this stuff. And like sometimes me being okay is the best I got.
Yeah.
And even during a class, I will tell people like, you are okay. You are not dying.
Yeah.
You are good. Your heart pounding in your chest right now. That means you're awesome. Like, good job. You're reaching that next cardio level.
Yeah.
But also, high five to me for getting you there. You're welcome.
Good for you.
But it's like, I try to make it as light as possible. There's a lot. So I'm near Tulane and Loyola University, and I see all these young girls coming in, and they're, trying to be Instagram models, and they don't see how that is not accessible.
It's not real life.
Long-term.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that eventually all that laughing you're doing at someone is going to not just make them feel bad, but it's also going to cause wrinkles on your face. So,
nice.
I'm not trying to discourage your happiness, but make sure it's worth it.
Yeah.
But these girls, man, they're under so much pressure. And I tell them, I'm like, I will not meet you for a drink, but I will meet you for ice cream.
I'll be down.
And the moment I say that, it's like the veil drops.
Jesus, that's astonishing.
They're like, oh my gosh, really? Have you been here? And then it's like a healthy discussion that leads to, okay, how do we break?
Wow.
How do we break your bondage with food?
Wow. God, that's astonishing. That's pretty impressive. Yeah. I mean, do you find it? This sounds sexist, but I don't mean it to be. I mean, do you think a lot of simply put, a lot more? I know the answer. I think are most of your clients in that realm going to be females? Is that? I mean, the pressure being an Insta model for a male seems non-existent.
Oh, you'd be surprised, brother.
Well, I mean, it's there. Yeah. Oh.
There is a lot about that, but for me personally, so let's just open up this whole other can.
Ooh.
I have dated and been in the fitness industry, and I feel uncomfortable if my guy is like, oh yeah, I'm going to train with so-and-so, and I don't know her, but there she is in her sports bra and her tiny little shorts, and I get it, she's hot, but I train too.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
instead of going into that lane, I tell people almost all the time, I'm like, sure, I will train you, sir, only if you bring your girlfriend with you.
Badass. That's genius. Yeah. Yeah.
Just because I'm kind of no nonsense, and we, especially with this political climate,
God, yeah.
I'm not taking any chances. And also, I find that I have a shoulder injury and a hip injury. There's a lot that I'm going to ask some dude to do that I cannot physically assist.
Cool. Yeah, for sure.
And I can show you the form of it, but I'm not going to be able to spot you.
Yeah.
So yeah, for the most part, I talk to mostly women. Also in group exercise, you
true.
guys
Yeah.
are missing out on group exercise.
Yeah, I'm one of the people that not judges it, but shies away without justification, though. To be honest with you, I have no if somebody put a gun to my head, I couldn't explain why. Like the most group exercise I've done was in the Army, which was associated with not fun, or like I went to like a big hot yoga class, so you're quiet. So it was like loner group exercise.
Right. Yeah. It's like swimming.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like guys in group exercise, first off, I have guys that come to my class, and their age group one of them is easily my dad's age, like in his late 60s.
Okay.
And one of them is like cool dad age, whatever that age is.
Okay, yeah.
So shout out to all those cool dads listening. And he comes in, he's got 3 sons. His wife also works out with me on different times because, sons.
Yeah.
And he's like on the bike before everybody, riding harder than everybody.
Badass.
And then, like, when I ask him to do some sort of push-up on a bike, which, by the way, we can talk about that as well, he's down. Like, he's like, okay, I'll try it, whatever.
That's cool.
And I can really appreciate that. But also, he is improving his heart rate, number one. So all those weights he's lifting with his weight training group.
Yeah.
Like, we live in an age where you're going to probably punch a lot less people in the face than you will have the opportunity to get shot. And you cannot punch a bullet. You got to be able to run. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's true. I can vouch for that.
So when I coach him, it's really fun. And it's such an encouragement to me because I know, 1, my music's not too girly. 2, I'm giving him something that is improving his life. Because that's one thing. Guys don't beat around the bush. If you're not adding to their workout, or if it's not challenging at the right amount,
they'll bail.
They're out.
Yeah.
And they have no shame about it. They're just like, I'm out.
Do you think they're just looking for an excuse because of the, I don't want to say stigma, but because of their reservations, they're told like that you almost have to really snag them because they're just looking for an excuse to bail?
I don't know that they're actively, a lot of them aren't looking for an excuse to bail because they showed up. So they're already battling up against the stigma.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But I do think it is quite a shock to most of them that the classes that I teach are hard.
Yeah. I mean, a still picture of your classes makes me tired.
Whatever.
No, I'm not joking.
You're totally going to come to my class one day.
No, because it sounds exhausting. Just kidding.
I mean,
no, I have a cliche. As much as I try to come across somewhat balanced, I have a very cliche male ego, and you can Marty McFly me and just say, "What are you, chicken?" I'll be like, "Okay, I'm there." So, I'm very.
That's really useful information.
Yeah, it's I don't even try to hide that fact. It's very I had friends growing up that they used that as a sick tool, knowing I would do it, and it's led to a lot of hospitalizations and broken bones. But yeah.
I get that. I get that about you.
Yeah. So I have a question that's completely deviated, but it's actually not I don't want to say staged, but I'm asking this almost as a friend and client, and you would be perfect to answer this. So I was having the cliche Los Angeles coffee with somebody yesterday, a platonic friend I've known for years, and she had an interesting conundrum, and I had an answer that kind of made me sad yet encouraged at the same time. So she's with this guy, and they're in a new part of the relationship, and this isn't relationship talk, but I'm curious about your thoughts on the second half of this question. She's with this guy, and since this world we live in, like you said, the political climate we live in, it seems like everything's just a mess when it comes to like loyalty and affairs and all this crap. She's with a guy, and since she's now just getting to know him, he's now having a female friend come, like long-term female friend come into town. He said she's going to stay with him, and her family's going to come or whatever. And my friend's first instinct was, because of maybe her past, or maybe because it doesn't seem like there are good people in this world anymore, her first instinct was, oh great, she's instantly kind of jealous without like good cause. And she asked me for my thoughts, and I go, I don't know what you think of me as far as like my blind optimism, but sometimes I get a little bit pissy and jaded versus I don't have an inherent instinct to be hippie optimist. But I told her, I was like, it seems like it'd be a shitty way to live, constantly just assuming the worst in people. I'd rather assume the best in people and constantly be let down, or risk being let down, than constantly live in a state of assuming people are bad and cheaters and all that and never be let down. What do you do with that? Like, would you answer the same way? You seem like you kind of would. Having faith in humanity.
I have experience in this area.
Okay, and that's kind of what I was getting at, is I kind of thought you did, is like having faith in humanity, but knowing you're statistically going to be disappointed here and there, versus no faith in humanity and never being wrong.
Well, okay, so the thing is that you're up against a lot of stuff, right?
For sure.
Number one, it's a new relationship.
Yeah.
Number two, they probably don't know. They probably know each other a little tiny bit better than you and I know each other right now.
Totally.
It's very instant.
Totally.
And so she probably doesn't feel comfortable exposing herself, showing that vulnerability of, hey, I'm happy that you have friends.
Yeah.
But this situation is making me uncomfortable.
Well, that's what made me think of when you talked about when you have the partner come train with you, if there's a boy-girl issue, like you'll bring the boyfriend of the girlfriend, etc. And I can see that, because I think we're instinctively jealous creatures, whether we're balanced or not. Oh,
yeah, and we're built in, we are fed jealousy.
Yeah.
Like, we eat jealousy every day.
Yeah.
Without being, like, we're force-fed it.
Yeah. Well, that's what advertising is we're jealous enough of this person in this picture with this product to buy that product.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so I would, if your friend were my friend, so basically she's my friend now.
For sure. Take her. You're better for her.
I would tell her that if she's uncomfortable talking to him about it, then she really has to just, like, it's literally a heads or tail decision.
Yeah.
However, the fact that she is identifying as in a relationship with someone, that she can't even express this kind of uncomfortability.
Ooh, yeah. Good point. That could
me,
speak volumes.
It's not a red flag, but it's definitely like you should pay attention to
a little
that
self-evaluation on that, for sure. Yeah, that's valid. That's really valid too. It sucks because the people that are, because you're definitely, you're all heart, and I'm not just saying that to like kiss your butt, but I think people that are all like heart and all out to help and care, they're also the ones most susceptible to be like hurt. It seems like, yeah. And I kind of, I can't imagine, I mean, I'm pushing being over 30 and like you start to get kind of like life scarring. And so you start assuming the worst based on past. It's like when you're 18, you assume nobody will ever cheat on you. Everybody's going to be good. And if you're helpful and try to help the world, it'll always pay off and make you feel good. Then the longer you do that, the odds are more in favor of that not happening consistently. And so you're like, well, why am I even going to try to be nice? Because this person's, whether it's in a relationship or anything, whether I'm trying to help people in a class, trying to start a business, it's like, well, why even try? It's not worth the crash.
Yeah, but it's not really what it's worth. It's about what you are worth.
Jesus, that was the bumper sticker of the conversation right there. No joke. I like that, yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's like, that's what I would tell your friend. What are you worth to not get hurt by a dumb situation?
Yeah, what you just said.
Call her.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I know. This sounds like one of those things like you see on a sitcom. Like, I have a friend.
I have a friend?
No.
But that's...
On my mother's life, she's still alive. This is a true story. This isn't Jeff making up a friend that doesn't exist just to ask you for advice over the phone for free.
No, but that's what it is. You have to decide when it comes to relationships or your intuitive feeling.
Yeah.
You have to decide what you are worth before you can decide what the situation or what the risk is worth.
That's beautifully brilliant.
I mean, and trust me, like I sound like I got this, but I don't.
I know you don't.
And it's such a bumpy road, and I find like I will know who I am one day, and I will stand so firm in my convictions, and then 3 seconds later, I'm like, what? Let's shots for everybody. I'm going home with you. And it's that pendulum swing between, good and
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And the thing is to make sure your pendulum swings only so far.
Yeah. Do you think go ahead.
If you can put a cap on it, like if you can stop swinging, I think you're born swinging from good to evil.
Yeah.
And life kind of knocks you around, and by the time you get, I'm 34, I have no shame in it. By the time you get to 34, okay, if I just, tighten the rope on that pendulum, if I can just cinch it up a little bit, I don't have to swing that far ever again.
True. Do you think helping people, like when you have to be quote unquote on for so many people, like you spend your day doing that for people, do you think it also self-regulates you to keep that pendulum swing less dramatic? Because you have to stay that way for other people, which kind of like you said, the action forces you to stay that way too. You don't get to, you can't like go to somebody to tell them to be optimistic and you can't deliver that message in a poo-poo, I'm sad way. So does that force you to keep your pendulum from swinging?
Sometimes, but I'll tell you, like, as soon as I'm quote unquote off the clock, it can be risky business. It can be
that thing's just ready to swing.
Yeah, it can be. I am going out. Get out of my way.
For sure.
You're either with me or you're left behind.
Or you're in my way.
Oh no, you won't be in my way. Like I'm going to go. Like. That's the personality I have.
Gotcha.
And I think the amount of what is it, like knowing myself, whatever you would call that,
like you're not kidding yourself as to what you are, like that, like you're aware.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's that self-awareness of I know how bad this could be.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna go out tonight.
Gotcha. That's good. I mean, yeah, that's something that comes with either age, experience, and or maturity for sure. Because I was just talking to a friend of mine today. It's no secret one way or another. Recently went through a breakup, and like I know what I could possibly be capable of doing based on my past. So it's like, okay, just avoid X, Y, and Z for now. because I know what I'm going to do or what I could do. Why set myself up for that?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm not 18 anymore.
Wait, what?
Trust me.
I'm outta here.
There's a lot. Yeah, exactly. I can only get the ladies when I'm 18, yo. Whatever. No, my creaky knees speak volumes. I'm not. They give you away. Huh? Yeah, they're totally a dead ringer. Well, holy hell, dude. We've talked for almost 40 minutes already.
I kind of knew this was gonna happen.
You're a good talker. You're not a rambler. You're a good talker. This will have to be we'll have to keep doing. This is definitely gonna have to circle back around.
I really want to know what your friend decides.
Totally. No, I will. I'm genuinely, like, this is fresh very recently, and I'm curious too because I have a vested interest. I'm like constantly in like Big Brother mode, so I always have like this weird vested, protector interest in like everybody. Yeah, so no, I'm genuinely and like, okay, so like let's say he's a good guy. So protector Jeff is like, okay, yay, good. But let's say maybe her instincts or her fears are right. He'll pay.
Well, but here's the other part of that. Like, whether or not her fears are quote unquote right, they're valid.
Jesus, look at you're good at what you do, lady.
And I speak from so much experience.
For sure, it sounds
From telling someone for real, hey, man, if you do this is what's going to happen to me.
Oh, wow.
Very straight up. I don't, and this is probably why I'm single, because I don't beat around the bush with exactly what I'm dealing with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we were talking about before you hit record. I'm like, I will leave a date and you will get a free meal. Because number one, sorry.
So
but number two,
for the people that want to know.
So enjoy your whatever.
Yeah. So let's give everybody out your email and your phone number, because that doesn't sound like a bad night.
Yeah, but you got to be repulsive.
Oh, okay.
So,
repulsive people inquire only.
Yeah, please send them my way.
Come on now.
But I literally laid it out to the point of, if you go in this 8-hour trip or wherever with this specific person, I will not trust you.
Yeah. There's just that. Yeah.
and it's not always that blatant.
Yeah.
But there's things that you can say. You can say, hey, oh my gosh, that's really cool. Is her whole family staying with you guys?
Yeah, exactly.
Or, oh wow, okay. So before she gets here, let's talk about us. And I just want to be clear, because I'm here and I'm in this.
For sure.
My feet are in this bucket. I just want to make sure your feet are in the same bucket.
I dig it.
And if you got 1 foot in, cool. I just want to know.
Yeah. No, that's true. We're definitely going to have a continuation and or just repeat segments on your relationship perspective and advice. You're gonna get your own segment.
Yay! How exciting! Well, wait. Before we do anything else,
yeah,
we got to talk about why you're not telling people your Instagram handle and your Twitter handle.
No, because
I find it. I've listened to your podcast today. I had to study. And you don't say it enough.
Okay, well, here's what's ironic about that is because other than this, I whore out all my information all the time everywhere. And it wasn't until the podcast where I reined it in. And my text might have not came across my intention was because I don't need, this is business chat right now for Jenny and I. I don't need traffic to my social media. I need my social media traffic to my podcast. So within the podcast, I don't want to drive traffic to my Instagram. I need to drive traffic from my Instagram on an already established foundation to the new platform of my podcast. So within my
now it's Patreon.
Yeah, that's just for the podcast. So within the podcast, actually today, tomorrow's recording, which I changed based on your advice today. In the opening segment, I talk about how to get a hold of me. And now in the summary, I'll put where you can find me because, yeah, podcast is a narrow existence. So obviously they won't see like the fun pictures of my dog or whatever. So I still tell them where else to find me, but I do need to expose them to this new avenue, this additional avenue, more than I need to catch, because, to get the small numbers on Patreon or my podcast to the ones that are there are from my social media. So they don't need to know about my social media. God willing, I get to Joe Rogan levels, then I'll be like, hey, here's where I am everywhere. But
So like tomorrow.
Yeah, I want that in stone, lady. I want that written down.
You gotta dream big, right?
No, I know.
You
Trust me.
You sound like a crazy person when you do, but
no, you're
at least you're bringing joy to people around you.
You're one of the people that is good to have in my life because I definitely am prone to being some people are so realistic or pragmatic that it borders on causing like self-limit, and I'm for sure that's the business I'm in and the friends I have, thank God, keep me from being that way, inherently. So, because we are long-winded SOBs, I'll wrap it up and you will be back.
Awesome.
Whether you like it or not.
No worries, I got this.
Yeah, so I don't know if I said this before we talked. Don't hang up, but I'm going to say goodbye for now and then hit stop.
Cool.
Thank you, Jenny.
Sounds great.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, wait. Do you want...
I'm here.
Good, I'm still here. I didn't hit... It's still recording. Haha. Speaking of all that social media crap, where can we find you? Like, where can these people see you and hear you and be motivated with blurry, extremely energetic spin pictures?
I live in the wind.
Oh my God. Okay, now I'm stopping recording.
Oh, no, seriously though. I am at Jenny, Jenny Works, WERX.
Love it.
And that's like the one I'm trying to push people to.
Nice.
That's the fitness
Perfect.
stuff. From there, you can link to everything else.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, cool. So Jenny Works, WERX. And now we'll try that again. Thank you. And
all right, this time it's for real, sort of.
Yeah. No, you hang up.
Stop it.
And thus concludes my positively long-winded conversation with Jenny Leigh. She will be back. She already has ideas for the next show she's in. So I'm getting some reoccurring segments. It's awesome. Jenny's going to be back soon. Later this week, we're going to have Jesse Coyne back. He's going to talk about his kids and all the head trauma that's new as far as like for me generationally. Back in my day, you just hit your head on stuff playing football or any other sport. And now there's all sorts of helmet laws. He's going to talk about that, concussions. Scott Seagren's going to be back. I'm going to have a good friend of mine, Brianna, a single mother of two insanely energetic twins. Former serving Marine, but once a Marine, always a Marine. And many, 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 many more. So thus concludes Monday's freebie of the Land of Boz. Please, please, please check it out. Subscribe. I swear on my life, I'm doing my best to make this worth your time and money. $2 a month. It might be pennies or quarters literally out of your pocket, but it means the world to me, and I will give you your money's worth. I will give you an hour daily of something you will enjoy listening to on the drive at the gym. I wouldn't listen to me at the gym. That doesn't seem motivational. Maybe doing cardio. Maybe I'm enough of a distraction for cardio, but it means the world to me. I'm not joking. You just taking the time and listening means a lot. And you're seriously, if you guys have ideas or things you want to talk about or things you want to change or things you want different, somebody already chimed in on the audio on some stuff, which I completely agree on. I'm working on the audio for people calling in. And anything and everything, please feel free to chime in on the Patreon page. Again, you don't have to get the Patreon app. You can just do it via the website once, copy paste your iTunes thing. I can tell you how to do that. I am here to serve you, not in the creepy Hollywood way, but I am here for you. I am your employee. You are my boss, and I am doing this for you. So hopefully I'm entertaining and motivating and somewhat educational at times too. So thank you so much for everything you do for me. Have a great Monday. I am still at this point when you hear this, probably in bed getting ready to go to surgery. So I love you all. Go forth, conquer, kick ass, be relentless. Adios.